All right. I was wrong. I said that I gave my final take on Diablo 4 in a previous video. I guess I lied. This is a video that I kind of wanted to make about QA in general. So I'm probably going to title it a little bit as such. The state of QA in gaming or something. I don't know. Hey, whatever. Please like and subscribe if you like my commentary. But we're gonna watch Boss Hog over here. His name's just Hog. I call him Boss Hog. We're gonna watch his take on Diablo 4. This video they put out. I didn't watch this video, but I caught wind of it through other means. But yeah, let's check it out.
About 2 weeks ago, I put out a video talking about the Eternal Realm killing patch, and a lot of y'all agreed, and some of y'all disagreed. And in that video, I said that the Diablo 4 developers were intelligent people. I was wrong. I lied. I'm sorry. Maybe I didn't lie. Maybe I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, or I was uneducated about it, or trying not to insult anybody's intelligence or whatever. But after watching this video, Adventure with a Dev, they were playing some dungeon. It's actually not developers, it's two game designers, two dungeon designers. Designers are artists, developers are people that work on.
I First of all, that's fucking hilarious because I agree. Like I think there was moments where I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, like these are honest to goodness people that are working hard, working hard to try to make this game. Um, but then I hear about all these horrible coding issues and I see stuff like this and I'm just like, yeah, maybe I should not have given them the benefit of the doubt and should have paid a little bit closer attention to the details of what's going on.
The game systems and actually make the game a game.
Oh, but yeah, we can argue back and forth whether designers are artists or developers in today's day and age when they will cite artists and animators as part of the development team. So it is what it is. Like we can argue back and forth on semantics about this all we want. The important thing to note here is that these are the people that are involved in making the game, like closely involved with making the game, providing close-knit feedback that is shared with the people coding and doing development if they are not the actual people. Keep that in mind. They are essentially the QA.
So it's really not an adventure with a developer, it's an adventure with a designer. Okay. But after watching this and watching them play the game, well, let's go tinfoil hat even further. They're not really playing the game here. Do you see a camera set up, or you will not see a camera set up behind them showing them playing the game? They're sitting on a couch with a controller. Okay, and I will show you a little bit later in the video why.
Again, semantics, we can decide whether they're really playing or not. It doesn't matter. Clearly, this shows a disconnection between gamers and the people that they are expecting to know about their game and the people that are making the game.
Say that they're not actually playing the game, but they're sitting here chatting about things that we don't give a shit about. They're
That
talking about
I
tile
agree with.
design, talking about what they did to be designers and all this. And it just shows me how out of touch these people are with the player base. They don't understand that the game launched on June 6th. We cared about artwork for the first 3 days. After that, it's wore off. We don't care anymore what that looks like. They started the video off talking about.
Yeah, I've said many times the game looks great, it sounds great, but then when you get past that stuff, it's a fucking piece of shit game with tons of coding errors. Fuck it.
Emotes.
Do we have any emotes?
I can taunt you.
Taunt me.
There are so many ways I can kill you.
That will be your last stupid mistake.
Nobody cares about emotes. That's wore off already by now. Why are we talking about that? You go over to Path to Exile, We saw at ExileCon about, what, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about emotes. People spam emotes while I'm waiting for the world boss, and I just ignore their existence. They are NPCs to me.
That the head guy, Chris, got up there and played the new game in front of everybody. Let's take a look at what he did on his stream, just kind of compare it.
We have Blackjaw, former overseer of the Mechanarium. When the Val fell, he was turned to stone and now guards the area. In order to take down this boss, we're going to need all the tools in the Monk's arsenal, especially the combo of Freeze and Glacial Cascade. Now, if you're a PoE 1 player, you might think you can't rely on Freeze because there's so many bosses that are immune to it. But in PoE 2, that's changing significantly. In PoE 1, Freeze is a binary mechanic. An attack freezes the target, or it doesn't. What this basically means is that in PoE 1, we were forced to add freeze immunity to many bosses because Freeze just trivialized them. Because of that, freezing was something you could only really rely on while pack clearing, and not something you could use as a core part of your build for boss fighting. In PoE 2 though, all crowd control mechanics now have internal meters that allow you to build up to a freeze or stun, or whatever other CC mechanic that you're using. It's a little bit like poise from games like Elden Ring, though the meters tend to be a lot smaller than those games. When you freeze an enemy, it increases the amount of freeze you need to do to get another freeze, but the increased difficulty bleeds away slowly. More freeze will always let you freeze the boss more often, but this system means that it will not get out of control in party play or interact badly with other CC mechanics, allowing us to let these kinds of mechanics actually work against all bosses.
In his stream, he's talking about why things are the way they are, how things were in previous instances of the series. You're going to have to use all of your tools in the monk's arsenal to take down, and he's actually fighting a boss, and he's actually using skills that make sense to the regular players. Well, to a regular player that watches them play this game, they have no clue what they're doing. Let's take a look at the build they're using.
Yeah, I completely agree there. I like the way he presented everything about that, and that is important to realize. Like, he was talking about the design philosophy change from Diablo 3 to Diablo 4, whereas like Blizzard is like, oh well, Diablo 3 was a different game, so we didn't take any philosophy from that. And we didn't learn any lessons from that game. We just made a new game. Whereas Chris is like, yeah, we learned some lessons from the first game, and this is what we learned, and here's how we're changing it, moving into the second game. Yeah, and he was just talking about like stuff we care about, like hearing about the game. Which again is very, very important. And I'm not to take away from these people talking about their story and how they got into development and stuff. That's great for another day. But it just put in the context of how it was presented in this video, it was just horrible, and I feel terrible for these two women who have to deal with people's backlash unnecessarily. Like they're meat shields for Blizzard at this point. And it's fucking terrible. I can't believe Blizzard would do something like this to these people
during this playthrough. Now, a little of it's confusing because they keep swapping back and forth between these two people. So you don't know exactly who is playing what. You can kind of get an idea, but they never say, hey, this person's playing this character, this person's playing this character. So we have a barbarian and then we have a rogue, and they're both level 50, okay? And the skills that they're using, we've got some kind of jank build right here. So we've got stomp and leap. And then we've got the ultimate, forgive me, I'm not a barbarian player. We've got Hammer of the Ancients, a basic skill, and some kind of cull or something, whatever that is.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't play Barbarian either, but like I'm just gonna say straight up, like, look, they're on world tier 1 and they're level 50. I mean, no, just straight up right there, that there's immediately a problem, a disconnect here. You're not even playing on the level you should be.
I was curious, so I went over and looked at D4 builds or D4 Planner, see if there was any kind of build that used this kind of setup. Of course, there ain't. So then I got to wondering, like, is this a new secret build? The Leap Stomp / Hack Cold basic attack build? Y'all, this person literally attacks with nothing but the basic and the stomp. I don't think I ever saw her one time use Hammer of the Ancient.
Like they're all the different like looks of the dungeons
So,
that we have in the
we see
game. You know,
here-
your standard caves or your crypts, or in this case, these are
All they're doing is
like
using basic
Cathedral of
skills.
Light themed
That's
or
it.
Zacharoom themed. Our dungeon artists have this really cool thing they can do where they can
Using basic skills when we're talking about themes, while the entire community fan base is begging for more systems, more things to do. We're talking about themes. They are so out of touch with the community and the player base and what makes a good game good that it's not even funny. They are lost as last year's Easter egg. They ain't got a damn clue. She's sitting here spamming basic skills, not one time hit a Hammer of the Ancients. She's treating Hammer of the Ancients like it's an ultimate. So if you have developers that you're showcasing that don't even understand how to play the game, just by their actions show you they don't understand how to play the game. All they're worried about is talking about how pretty everything looks. You're screwed.
Yeah, and again, the important thing to take away from this is, like, it doesn't just show that they don't know how to play the game, but they don't understand fundamentally what we care about when we play the game as well. They don't understand. Like, these are the people that are making the dungeons that are full of backtracking. And they don't understand why we don't like backtracking. And it's obvious they don't understand why we don't like backtracking, because they don't even understand how we play the game. They play in a completely different way than we do. And this is what I want to talk about with the state of QA in gaming. When people think about QA, they think about their idealistic their ideology of what QA should be. A gamer playing games and giving feedback, and that's his job, to play games for a living. What a cool job. What a fucking Chad. Wrong. That's not how it is. Do you know what QA in gaming is? It's these fucking people. It's people that want to be animators. It's people that want to be designers. It's people that have coding experience. Yes, these people play games, of course, you know, but there's a difference between people that play games and gamers, right? But come on, we're a different fucking breed, okay? And unfortunately, game companies do not hire gamers for QA. No, they only hire people with aspirations to become artists, to become designers, to become coders, to become producers, to become something more. Okay? I've applied for a number of QA positions. I've got denied for a number of QA positions. After experiencing that time and time again, and also having friends in the industry that have enlightened me to the fact that they don't just want somebody that plays games for a living. As impressive as it might be that you've been gaming all day, every day for 35 years, and you have an amazing attention for detail and finding bugs and recreating bugs and identifying them and how to fix them, you know, like if you aren't aspiring to be a coder or developer or a designer in some way, you're more than likely not getting into a QA position unless you know somebody. You really have to know somebody, or you have to have family that owns the company or something. But no, QA in gaming is not what you think. It's fucking people like this that have no clue what they're doing. They're just enjoying a game. They're having a good time, having fun, but it's not the same kind of fun that we enjoy when we play games, because we play them different. We play them hard, we break them, and we hate when things are slow and annoying and make us backtrack pointlessly, right? And then who do we have to thank? We have the dungeon designers to thank for all the shitty backtracking and the horrible dungeon designs. So, you know, it's unfortunate that these people got put you know, in the line of fire for Blizzard. Especially when they know that like we hate the dungeon design. Yeah. I'm sorry to these people. Again, I feel bad. It's not entirely their fault, but it is at the same time.
But not this is minuscule compared to what the bomb she drops on us about collective. Diablo 4 was designed as a collective.
It's a collaborative job. People will create an initial dungeon, and then another dungeon designer will come in and then wind up basically giving both critique, and then also will make it better from there, and they'll understand, hey, this was like the core of the original idea, and keep that, and then we'll modify it to fit standards for the rest of the game, on making sure, like, hey, killing all these monsters in this area is too large, so let's actually shrink it a bit.
Oh my god.
And we'll all get together and like play test it, and then we have a board where we keep like feedback and stuff like that. So
we all get together and play test it. They don't have QA doing it. This is the game designers doing the QA as well.
Notes or whatever, and we'll talk about like what was good, what was bad, like what kind, like when we'd offer like suggestions on like things that could change or things that could improve it, stuff like that. We try to involve as many people as possible.
Oh god.
And then like Josie said, usually at some point we tend to like swap designers on dungeons.
No,
what? And it also makes sure that like, you know, if there's
so
like bugs
bad
in the dungeon later, pretty much anyone can solve the bug.
That's never a good.
Pretty much anyone can solve bugs. So basically we have like 10, 15 people who all have their hand in this pie, and any of them can solve the bugs. So they all just ignore them for the next guy. Yeah, the next guy will just solve it. So who gives a shit? Let me give my feedback and critique, and the next guy will fix it. Yeah, that's how you end up with shit that doesn't get fixed. You idiots are all passing the buck. You're not saying, okay, someone get down and dirty and fix all this shit. This is your responsibility. You're nitpicking on the things that you may or may not be able to fix and passing the buck on to the next guy.
Thing. Never. The reason I say it's never a good thing is my father is a software engineer. Owns his own software thing. He's his own man for one reason. He only works by himself and designs software by himself for one reason and one reason only. And he told me this 2 weeks ago. We were going fishing, and I was filling him in on all the stuff that was going on in Diablo 4 because I wanted to hear his feedback as a game or software developer. He doesn't do games, he does software. He's been doing it since the very late 70s, early 80s. And he said that one of the basics about coding, or he doesn't like me to call him a coder, one of the basics of writing software programming is the more people, the more hands that you have in a piece of software, the more clusterfuck it's going to be. He has a hard time going back and fixing stuff that he wrote 6 months prior because he don't remember what he was trying to accomplish in that particular moment. My dad's a very smart man. So if you apply that times 100, times 10, times 5 different, let's say 5 people, you're going to have a problem. She goes on to say that
yeah, I completely agree. And again, like I said, if any number of those people are just expecting the next guy to pick it up, there's going to get bugs that are ignored and overlooked and forgotten about.
they have one person that'll design a dungeon and then basically let everybody raise his hand, basically let everybody know, hey, I'm done with my dungeon. Can y'all come check it? And so then they stop what they're doing. So let's think about what a massive time waste. So if you're wondering why they can't get anything done, why Baldur's Gate can release a hotfix like instantaneously to fix something, and Diablo 3 they can't do it, it's not because they need to get it approved or all this horse shit excuses that they always feed.
Baldur's Gate had actual QA. Now they took a non-traditional method of QA as well, where they sold early access passes and founder packs, which enabled founders to play the game for essentially most of 3 years leading up to the game's launch, and provide constant feedback and constant bug reports for the developers to look at and implement and change. They put you know, they put the hands of a lot of QA into the actual gamers. Imagine that. Imagine that. A game that took quality assurance input and feedback from actual gamers leading up to the actual launch is one of the most massively successful, talked about, revered games of this time. These developers are setting standards for developers moving forward. Yeah, they should be. Because they actually put time and effort into listening to fans and gamers into how to make their game better. And they're still doing it. Even still, it's not a perfect game. They're still taking feedback and making changes.
It's that their system as a whole, their collective development system is broken. It's fundamentally flawed at its core. So what they do is this man, let's say me, I get done, I'm making this badass dungeon, I raise my hand and I say, I'm done. Now, let's say there's 5 people on the team. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 guys now have to stop on the task that they're on to have a powwow. We got to have a powwow now because one guy's done. Now all 5 other people got to stop. So now we come together as a collective to ensure that Timmy here feels good about his dungeon and we can give him feedback and
all you need is one gamer. One gamer will rip the shit out of your dungeon in no time, tell you why it fucking sucks and what you need to change, and you won't even feel bad about it.
Direct him in the proper way. So not only do you have a collective and you have multiple ideas, but you also have multiple personalities and everybody has their own agenda, especially in a corporate world. So just to play,
they are trying to promote. As I said, QA is only hired for people that are looking to promote further. They're not going to give the hard feedback. They're not going to say, hey, Jim, your dungeon fucking sucks, and the way you coded storage, you coded it like a fucking brain dead chimp. Because he values his job and his position. And he wants to promote. He's going to keep it tight-lipped. You know, more than likely, right? Things are not going to get handled in the same way. These are people that want to promote further in the company or they want good recommendations when they leave the company. So they're going to bite their lip in certain scenarios and not, you know, give some of the hard feedback that needs to be given these days.
Play devil's advocate and show you the different sides of all kind of things that can happen and just that show you that I understand deep diving into a problem or to a situation. Of those said 5 people, you're going to have personalities that clash with each other, or you're going to have secret animosities or secret beefs or secret jealousies or hidden agendas. So let's say that I come up with a really badass dungeon, but
Jim coded storage like a brain dead chimp. I know that he did it. I know how to fix it, but I want Jim to be the laughing stock of the company. And I want his job. So I'm not going to say anything until they say, hey, yeah, Jim did a really bad job on this. Does anybody have an idea as to how to fix it? Yeah, I do.
But Billy across the room, he don't like me. And he knows that I could possibly get a promotion because I come up with cool ideas. So because it's a collective and Billy doesn't like me, he can shoot down the dungeon. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going on. I'm saying that's the possibility of working with a collective. Okay, so if any of y'all have ever worked on a team in a corporate setting, you understand what I'm talking about. There's always somebody that's got some kind of something. A perfect example is in the movie Big. If you've never seen Big, and the guy with a really good, you know, Tom Hanks with a really good toy ideas, he's sitting in that meeting and he calls out this guy's building. He's like, what's cool about playing with a building? Well, that's the exact thing that we're dealing with now. And if you call that guy out, this made the shitty idea, the guy with the good idea is going to get that guy mad at him. And there's all kind of, it's just a giant clusterfuck. All work is ceasing on all of the other stuff that those people are working on. So they can be pulled off and go game test. So that's what she says is, we play test everything. No, y'all don't. Y'all walk through the dungeon to see what's going on and see the achievements, but there's no way that y'all playtest all of this and say, man, this is cool. And if your idea of playtesting is doing what y'all are doing here, then I understand why we see the problems that we're seeing.
See what I'm saying? QA in gaming is not, it's not how you and I would like it to be. Companies need to hire one gamer at least, or a team of gamers, or actually be more willing to put the game out in beta and alpha forms, and get it in the hands of actual players and get actual player feedback. Because game designers, there's a connection between game designers, coders, game producers. We are not the same. Okay, we are not the same, and we need to stop expecting them. You know, when we say things like, "Man, do these devs even play their own game?" You know what? Chances are they probably do play their own game, but they are not gamers. They are not gamers. They are people with a passion for making games. They may play games, but they're not gamers. We are a different breed. And yeah, I think it's time that gamers stand up against shitty games and stop playing them and start speaking out. Hey, companies, your games suck. I'm not going to play them unless you want to pay me to do it. And then I'll tell you the hard feedback you need to hear. I'll tell you why your game is bad. I'll tell you what you can do to make it better. Sure, I may not be the one that can code all of that. But let's team up. If it's a collaborative, it's a team, okay. Then have the people that play the game and test it, and have people to code the game and fix it, right? All right, anyway, I gotta go shopping. I need some food, I need some drinks, and I want you guys to go watch Hog's whole video, because I'm sure he's got some more good feedback coming up after this. So I'm gonna link it in the description. Hog, thanks for letting me piggyback off of your content there, buddy. Seriously, he's a good guy. I love his accent. I love his candor. Yeah, he's just a good dude, and he makes good, funny content. So check him out, and yeah, D4 bad, QA gaming, it's in a really shitty state. Please like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Peace out, everybody.